The wind was colder than usual that Friday evening, but inside his small townhouse, Daniel felt warm for the first time in years, warm with hope, warm with nerves, warm with the possibility that maybe life was finally giving him a second chance. He kept glancing at the mirror on the wall, smoothing down the same stubborn strand of brown hair that always bounced back up, ready to misbehave. He hadn't been on a date since his wife passed away 3 years ago. Raising his 7-year-old daughter, Emma, alone had become his entire world. Dating felt impossible, maybe even selfish. But his sister insisted that he deserved happiness too. And after months of gentle nudging, he finally agreed to meet someone. Her name was Lily. They'd talked online for a few weeks, and she seemed kind, soft-spoken, funny, and patient with the way Daniel always had to pause their calls to help Emma with homework, bedtime, or tears. When the doorbell rang, Daniel took a deep breath, forced his shoulders to relax, and opened the door with the friendliest smile he could muster. But the moment he saw the woman standing there, nervous smile, slightly trembling hands, eyes full of apology, his smile faded into confusion. Because instead of saying hello, she leaned forward just a little and whispered, "I'm so sorry to spring this on you, but my kids are in the car." And Daniel froze. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment to support Kindness Tales, the place where real-life stories of compassion come alive. Your engagement helps us share more inspiring stories with wonderful viewers like you. Daniel blinked twice, trying to understand what he just heard. It wasn't that he disliked children. Quite the opposite, he adored them. But showing up to a first date with kids waiting in the car? He wasn't prepared for that. He wasn't prepared for whatever her life story was. Lily's face reddened in embarrassment. "Their babysitter canceled last minute," she whispered quickly. "I didn't want to bail on you. I really wanted to meet you. But I didn't want to force my kids on you either. So I thought maybe we could talk for a few minutes, and I'd leave afterward." She looked like she expected him to shut the door. Instead, Daniel said softly, "Why don't you bring them inside? It's freezing out there." Her eyes widened. She opened her mouth, closed it again, then nodded. "Okay, if you're sure." When Daniel followed her to the car, he saw 2 kids in the back seat, a boy around 10, and a little girl maybe 5 or 6. Both staring at him curiously through the window. The boy looked cautious. The little girl looked hopeful. "This is Daniel," Lily introduced gently. "He's a friend." Daniel crouched down and smiled. "Hey there." The boy didn't return the smile, but the little girl lifted her mittened hand in a shy wave. Back inside the house, Daniel made hot chocolate for everyone, real hot chocolate, with milk on the stove, not powder and water. Kids could always taste the difference. Emma, who had been drawing in her room, peeked out when she heard the new voices and hurried in to investigate. There's something magical about the way children make friends without hesitation. Within minutes, Emma and the little girl were sitting side by side on the living room rug, discussing their favorite colors, while the older boy stood nearby, arms crossed, suspicious but listening. Daniel noticed the dark circles under Lily's eyes, the tired slump in her shoulders, the way she kept checking on her kids as if she feared one wrong move would collapse her entire world. He recognized that look. He had worn it himself. They sat at the kitchen table as the kids played in the next room. "You're a single parent too?" she asked quietly, noticing how naturally he moved around the kitchen, how he kept one ear tuned toward the kids. Daniel nodded. "Lost my wife a few years ago." Her eyes softened. "I'm sorry." "What about you?" he asked gently. She took a slow breath. "Divorced. Their dad hasn't been in the picture for almost 4 years. Money's tight, support is zero. I work 2 jobs, and most days I still feel like I'm failing." "You're not failing," Daniel said instantly. And he meant it. But she laughed, one of those hollow laughs people give when they think you're being nice, not honest. Her son, hearing her laugh, looked up sharply. It dawned on Daniel then, this boy wasn't just cautious. He was protective. The kind of protective a child becomes when they've seen their mother break more times than anyone should. Daniel walked over and knelt beside him. "Want to help me pick out a movie for the kids?" he asked. The boy hesitated. Then finally, he gave the smallest nod. As they flipped through options, Daniel noticed the way the boy analyzed everything, the labels, the length, whether it looked too childish for his age but too scary for his sister. He took responsibility for things a child shouldn't have to. "You like superheroes?" Daniel asked. "Sometimes," the boy said. "Depends on the story." "Me too," Daniel replied. "The good ones aren't really about heroes. They're about people trying their best, even when things are hard." The boy turned his head slightly, looking at Daniel in a new way, not with trust yet, but with curiosity. An hour slipped by. The kids laughed. They spilled popcorn. They made a fort out of all the couch cushions. And every time Lily started to apologize, Daniel would shake his head with a gentle smile. "There are worse things than kids having a good time," he'd say. At one point, Daniel caught Lily watching her children, really watching them. The fear in her eyes slowly shifted into something softer. Relief, maybe. Gratitude. When it grew late, she stood up abruptly. "We should go. I didn't mean to take up your whole evening. I'm sorry, this wasn't fair to you." Daniel shook his head. "You didn't take anything from me. Tonight was nice." She looked down, her voice trembling. "Most men don't want to date a mom with 2 kids. They don't want the baggage. They don't want the chaos." "Then they're missing out," he replied. Her eyes filled with tears. She quickly blinked away. "Why are you being so kind?" Daniel smiled softly. "Because someone was kind to me once, when I needed it most. I wouldn't have made it without help. And because I know what it's like to feel like you're too much and not enough at the same time." She covered her mouth with her hand as a quiet sob escaped. The kids gathered their coats. Emma hugged the little girl goodbye like they'd known each other for years. The boy hesitated again, then lifted his hand for a small, awkward high five. Daniel tapped his hand gently. At the door, Lily paused. "I understand if you don't want another date. Tonight wasn't normal." It wasn't. Daniel cut her off with a warm smile. "Actually, I'd like to see you again. All of you." She stared at him like he wasn't real. "Are you sure?" she whispered. "I'm sure," he said. "Life isn't perfect. People aren't perfect. But kindness makes room for imperfect things." She nodded, too choked up to speak. When they drove away, Daniel watched the car fade down the street. Emma tugged on his sleeve and asked, "Daddy, are they coming back?" Daniel looked at her and smiled. "I hope so, sweetheart." That night, as he tucked Emma into bed, she whispered, "I like them. They seemed lonely." He stroked her hair. "Sometimes people just need a little kindness." "And we gave it to them," she said proudly. "Yes," Daniel whispered. "We did." In the weeks that followed, Lily and her kids returned, first for short visits, then for dinners, then for weekends full of laughter. Their children became friends. Their lives slowly intertwined. And in the middle of all the chaos, the spilled juice, the homework struggles, the bedtime tantrums, something beautiful grew. Not perfection. Not a fairy tale. Something real. Something steady. Something built on kindness. In the end, kindness didn't just open the door to a single evening. It opened the door to a new beginning for 2 parents who had almost given up on love, and for 3 children who learned that families can be rebuilt one gentle act at a time. If this story touched your heart, remember, even the smallest kindness can change someone's world. Let's keep spreading it, one act, one moment, one story at a time. Thank you for watching Kindness Tales.